Alright, welcome back. Has it been a while? Because it sure seems like it has. So, I'm very excited for this video. This is one that I have been looking forward to for quite some time. Today, we're going to be doing some powder coating. So, to the right of me, you'll see that I've got this Eastwood powder coating oven. And over here, I've got a dual voltage powder coating system, also from Eastwood. That's a neat little plug-and-play dual voltage system that you hook up to your air compressor to powder coat at home. So the part that I'm going to be powder coating today is this all aluminum battery box that I picked up from BBCR Engineering and used on my CX500. It's not coated, it's not been painted yet, so it's a perfect candidate for some powder coating. You can see it needs to be cleaned a little bit. It's had a little wear and tear from being on the road for 6 months now. And I think it's a great candidate to actually test out this system to see how durable the powder coating is, because if you recall, it sits pretty low on the bike. So the reason why I'm doing it is definitely for cosmetic reasons, and because over time this aluminum box is going to start to oxidize. So it makes it a good candidate for powder coating. So the powder coating that I'm going to be going with is this satin black hot coat from Eastwood. And I've actually had a chance to try it out on a couple parts here just before this video. I've done this Craftsman 17mm wrench and it looks pretty good. By the way, this is 2 coats. And I've done one of the Honda badges from my bike. Again, 2 coats. This Honda badge is aluminum, and I believe these Craftsman wrenches are steel, and I think they have a chrome coating on them. Either way, it seems like the powder coating has held up pretty well. So I'm interested to see long term how all this is going to hold up, especially the battery box, considering how low it sits on the bike. Alright, so I'm going to clear off the bench here and let's get started. What I'm going to be doing here is taking my acetone to wipe all the grease off of the battery box and road grime and everything else to ensure that the piece is nice and clean powder coating. Now, I've lucked out here because this piece is fairly new and it obviously doesn't rust because it's aluminum. But I would advise anyone looking into powder coating to take the time to clean your piece to the fullest, because any grime or rust, and in some cases certain types of paint, will not only cause the powder to not stick, but could cause other issues during the baking process. So that's my advice. You notice I'm wearing gloves when working with acetone. That's really up to you. I prefer to not have acetone on my skin, and I think long term that's probably a good idea. I also like to use acetone because it does a pretty good job of grease removal and general automotive films that would get on a motor, and it wipes it right clean. And also the fumes aren't that bad and they clear out pretty quick. I also like acetone because it doesn't leave a residue, so that's also a plus. I'd say it looks pretty clean. I think we're ready for some powder. But first, we got to prep for the pre-bake. Before we go any further, let's talk about the powder coating oven for just a couple seconds here. So this is the Eastwood powder coating oven. It's a purpose-built powder coating oven for powder coating. So it has 3 dials here to control the oven. The top sets your temperature, this turns the heaters on and off, and then this is a timer that goes up to 60 minutes and actually dings like an old school toaster oven when it's done. It also comes with this little grabber which allows you to remove the hot trays from the inside of the oven. When you pop the oven open, you've got 2 trays. What's this pre-baking I've been talking about? Well, pre-baking is essentially a final prep step where you turn your oven on, get it up to operating temperature, put your part in there to raise it to powder coating temperature without any powder coating on it. Well, why would I do that? Well, doing that helps to ensure that there's no contaminants remaining on the part, because the part will be at about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and it ensures that the part itself is going to be suitable for powder coating. To pre-bake, what I'm going to do first is set my temperature to 450, turn this thing on, and then set the timer to about 10 minutes. It's about 60 degrees here in the garage, so I don't think it'll take more than 10 minutes to warm the oven up to about 450 degrees. Let's call it 425. So, now what I'll do while I'm waiting for the oven to warm up is take one of my racks and figure out how to hang this bad boy from the rack, or how I'm going to powder coat it. I think what I want to do is actually hang it from the rack. Seeing how it will probably fit by eyeballing it in the oven, is I'm going to hang it from a couple of these holes here with some of my shop wire and just give myself a lot of distance to get around it. So what I've got here is just some galvanized steel shop wire that I'll use as a hanger. Well, I think something about like that's going to get the job done. Not the prettiest thing, but it'll give me good access to the top so I can get a good amount of powder on that. Alright, let's go check the oven. I think we're about ready for some pre-baking. What I've done is I actually turned this up to 450 all the way. Now, the one thing you'll notice that you can't see is the actual temperature inside the unit. So, what I have with me is my infrared thermometer, which lets me tell the temperature inside the oven. Now, what you can't do, which I wish you could, but you know, physics and stuff won't let me, is you can't just zap the glass and see what temperature it is. You're just going to get the glass temperature, which is about 201 degrees Fahrenheit or so. So what you have to do, crack the oven, get the inside. Yeah, it looks like we're right around 450, so we should be good to go. So what I'm going to do now, drop down my door, and very carefully pop my piece in there just like so. Now what I'll do is in the next couple minutes come back with my thermometer, now that the piece is in there, crack the door, check the temperature of the part to make sure that the part is actually at about 400 to 450 degrees. That part is definitely up to full temperature, so I'm going to go ahead and let it cool down. And then once it's cool, take it out and start powder coating. We're down to about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's safe enough to touch. Yeah, not bad at all. So, what I've done here is just made this makeshift wood rack to hold the part in the rack for easy powder coating. As you can see, Eastwood actually does have a powder coating rack holder. I just didn't splurge for that, although I might in the future. It looks pretty cool. It actually clamps onto the edge of the rack to give you like a full motion of powder coat. Alright, let's meet the powder coater. So what we've got here is the dual voltage powder coating system from Eastwood. It has a high and low voltage setting. I'm going to be shooting with the low voltage today, considering my part's pretty small. So let's just take a quick tour. The gun itself hooks up to my air compressor. Only takes about 5 to 10 psi to get the powder out of the system, out of the gun. Get this nice can to put your powder in. The powder that they supply you with in the 1 pound increment also comes with a can that will fit on here as well, a container that will fit on here as well, but I like to pour it into this in increments because I'm shooting pretty small parts. So, pretty straightforward design, pretty easy to figure out. The actual power unit itself, you've got your clamp here. It's a little alligator clip that you clip onto your rack to charge your part. Then you've got your button. You push this to charge your part. So you push this as you spray your powder coat. I'm going to hook the little lead right to the rack. And we'll go with right there. Eastwood recommends you wear a mask. So I'm going to be wearing a mask for this. I'm I'm not sure what the effects of inhaling powder coating are, but I don't want to find out. There we go. It's a lot like painting, but you see I'm kind of doing it from the edge instead of from the front. That is pretty good coverage for a first coat. Pretty happy with it. Alright, now that the dust is cleared in the garage a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and preheat the oven. So I'm going to pop this up to 450, put about 15 minutes on the timer. It's about 60 degrees in the garage today, so I don't think it'll even take that long. There we go. Warm in there. Okay. Now, what I want to do is turn it down to 400. And then set the timer a little higher. What I'm going to be looking for is when the powder starts to do what's called flowing out. Right now it's that satiny color, but when it flows out it's going to be a very glossy black. When that happens, I'll turn the timer down to about 20 minutes. Which essentially lets it bake, and then let it cool down. So I just checked the temperature of the part, and it's probably hard to see with this video and with the glass between the camera and the part, but it's starting to flow out and the part is right around 400 degrees. So that's a signal to me to put the timer down to 20 minutes and begin the final baking process. So just gonna put that to 20 minutes. And then once it turns off, after 20 minutes, I'll let it cool down to the touch and bring it out of the oven. And now we're going to let it cool. What temperature is that? It's about 363 degrees and cooling. Yeah, looks good. Alright, I'd say it turned out pretty good. There's a few little locations that need another touch, but definitely another coat would help that, no problem at all. I'd say coverage on the outside is pretty impressive. A few little things here and there, but you know, not bad. Not bad for a first time. Could have done the inside a little better, so I'd say I'd give myself probably a 8 or 9 out of 10 on this one. Let's go with 8. Coverage on the inside could have been a little better. There's a few spots that I missed, but not a big deal. Outside coverage is really good. The edges look good. I'd say it turned out pretty good. The satin black is picking up all the dust from my gloves, but it looks pretty good to me. I was hoping in this video that I'd have time to actually put the box back together, put all the electronics back in it, and get it on the bike, but unfortunately I've run out of time for today. So what I will do is quickly take a quick shot just holding it up to the bike to see how it looks, and I'll do a follow-up video very soon putting this all back together and getting it all installed back in the bike. Also, I'll put all of the products that I worked with today, all the tools, in the description so you can pick them up yourself. Alright, thanks for watching, and I will definitely see you soon.